Great catching up with my next guest. He's going to be back in action taking on Court McGee, UFC Atlanta, June 14th. He's going to have a crowd cheering him on. It's Michael Chiesa back here on the program. Mike, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. It's my anniversary today.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
Game 5 of the Knicks versus Celtics series.
That's right.
Training camp's going good, man. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, I think I asked you this before, but if the Sonics ever came back, would you have to switch your allegiance, or would you still be a Knicks fan?
Man, so I'm a two-team guy. So like
Okay.
I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I like the Seahawks, like the Mariners, like the Yankees. So I'd probably be a two-team guy, but I got to admit, man, I'm a huge Jalen Brunson fan. It would be darn near impossible for me at this point to jump ship on the Knicks because I'm such a fan of his work. I mean, Captain Clutch himself, he's the man.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Speaking of Seattle, did you try and get on that Seattle card? I was surprised to not see you on there. They actually didn't have a lot of local fighters on there overall. What happened there with not getting on Seattle?
Well, we were just kind of going back and forth, trying to find the right matchup. And at the end of the day, man, it would have been my third fight in 6 months. The Tony Ferguson fight, well, that fight I came out relatively unscathed. I had injuries that I went through that camp that had to be medically attended to after the fight got over. And then literally right when I got cleared to go back to training, I was right back into camp for Max Griffin. And that fight went well, but I just physically, mentally, I just feel like I was starting to burn out, and I have more time behind me than I do ahead of me.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I force myself into this situation, into a camp against, an opponent that's really, I'm not really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially, like, does that one camp I have to drag myself through ruin 2 or 3 more fights I could have ahead of me? And once we were really trying to just get my feet back underneath me to get back into camp. The day I was supposed to call Sean and confirm that I was in, I found my dog of 10 years dead in my yard. So I was like, so I was like, dude, I'm done. And even he made the choice for me. He was just like, you know what, dude, you need to just not fight right now. You need to, and bless his heart, him and Hunter reached out. Hunter sent me very, very nice, heartfelt message. Just, pets are important. And it was just more important for me to focus on grieving with my wife and being there for her than brushing everything aside and having a gangbuster through a new camp. So it was the right decision. I'm just hoping, James, that before my time is done, we go back to Seattle, because that event was rocking.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd showed up. The fights were great.
Yeah.
And I think that Seattle, Washington is one of the most grossly underrated cities when it comes to combat sports. I mean, if you think about this, AMC Pancration was founded in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the first UFC until 1993. So our mixed martial arts roots run very deep in Washington State. So I hope they come back soon.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. Dana was making fun of me at the presser because I'm like, is this going to be an annual thing? And it looked really good. I didn't mind the 3-hour drive down the I-5, right? So it was fine with me. So it's always a lot going on there. But let's talk about this fight, Court McGee, a fun veterans fight. That's kind of cool that you're getting this fight as well. When did you find out? How did this come together? And sort of an added question on this, were there any other opponents in the mix?
There was no other opponents in the mix for this. It was just, I was working the Apex. I think it was the beginning of April.
Okay.
And I saw Sean there, and he was just like, "Hey, what do you think about this Court McGee fight?"
Nice.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm game. Let's do it." I'm getting the itch. And he just asked when, and I've never been to Atlanta. And at this point in my career, like, it's kind of fun to go fight places that I've never been. So I've never fought in Georgia. So just kind of seemed like a no-brainer for me, especially when I was kind of hearing the rumblings that, Buckley and Usman, that's the main event. And for me, I always like to I like to fight at events where the marquee fights are people in my weight class, because you never know what could happen.
Exactly.
Someone might fall off, and you're there and you're prepared and you're in shape. So it all made sense for me to fight in Atlanta, and I just got things coming up this summer. I got a lot of broadcasting stuff coming up, and I'd like to actually enjoy a little summer as well. I've been in camp like the last 3 or 4 summers, so it'll be nice to fight in June, have from June till mid-July to just kind of have some fun, enjoy a little summer in the Pacific Northwest. And then I gotta do Road to UFC in China in August. I get to call a Contender Series event which I'm
Nice.
super stoked about. I don't know
Oh,
if I'm
awesome.
not supposed to say. I don't know if I'm not
I'm
supposed
sure
to
you're
say
good.
anything.
I'm sure you're good, man. I mean, that's awesome news. And
Yeah.
well deserved, man. Honestly, like it's been cool
Thank
to
you.
see you transition into this other role as well. And I know it's been going well. And that's that's going to change the mindset a little bit with fighting, knowing that you have this career outside of MMA, outside of fighting, I should say, that is done quite well for you by the looks of it.
For me, it's not like it's like it gives me an assurance, like, okay, when it's all said and done, I have this thing I can fall back on. It really isn't. I just love, like, I don't have kids. My life revolves around this sport. So
Yeah.
I love to train. I love to compete. I love to be an analyst. I love to commentate. I love coming up to Vancouver and working the BFL events. I
That's
love
right.
the time I've got to spend commentating for LFA. Down the line, I'm going to be calling some fights with CFFC. I just love this sport so much, and I just feel blessed that, like, every waking day, that's just how I provide for myself, and it's not just the competing, it's everything else outside of it. But that is the goal, James. Like, I'm a realist, man. Like, my ultimate goal is to win a world championship. I still believe I'm one of the best in the world. I have the chance to prove that on June 14th. But I feel like when it's all said and done, if I don't get gold wrapped around my waist, I feel like we've had over 1,000 UFC champions, I think, throughout the course of the history of the UFC. But how many commentators have we had? Like,
Mhm.
there's a handful. So I feel like that would validate my effort if the day comes that I get signed to be a part of the commentary team. So that's what I'm chasing. But still, my first priority is competing.
Yeah, well, and you got to be proud of the fact you're still in the UFC. I mean, if you look at your Ultimate Fighter season, are you the last one standing? I was trying to even remember, like, from your season, who's still around, because I know Tony's obviously gone. He's not with UFC anymore.
So for my season, I think Vince Pichel just
Oh yeah, Vince Michelle
yeah,
retired. Yeah,
no, Vince was from my season, and then I think it's just Drew Dober. I think it's just
that's
me and
right.
Drew Dober just holding it down for us for tough lives. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy, man. And I think that right now, I think I'm the only analyst that's still an active competitor. I might even actually out of everybody, I think of the
yeah.
commentators and the analysts, I'm the last man standing, dude. I got to hold it down for the old dog. So yeah, that's kind of I didn't really realize that until I just was talking to you. So it's
There we go.
interesting.
That's what I do. I'm trying to make it. We're going beyond just talking the regular fight stuff. We got to think outside the box. Camp. So I remember last time we spoke, you were kind of doing things back home. Is that kind of the plan for this camp too? Just stay at home base.
No, the plan for me is obviously stay home.
Mm.
I'm gonna go spend some time in Vegas, so I'll go
Oh, nice.
down.
Okay, so you're going. Nice.
Yeah, so I got a call road to UFC the 22nd, 23rd, so next week.
Mm.
So I'll go down, train for a couple days, work for a couple days, come home for a couple days, and then I'll go back down for like a week and go down train at Syndicate. I was there a few weeks ago, and they got so many good guys there right
Oh, I
now.
know.
The
Yeah.
talent, the talent pool is deep there. So John Wood's got some guys for me. I've been in contact with him, and it's just cool to see what his gym has blossomed into. It's like, he's training world champions, Jean Weili, Merab Dvalishvili.
Khalil. Yeah.
He had Khalil in a title fight against Alex Pereira. I mean, it's pretty cool to be down there, and it's cool to see how he's grown. I've known John for so long, and I think he's an incredible coach. He's an incredible guy. So I'll definitely spend some time down there. It's like our, us people here at Sick Jitsu, like me, Rick, Brady, like that's our home base when we're down in Vegas, is we're down at Syndicate.
Okay, that makes sense. So your corner, what will that look like for this fight?
The corner, same as always, man.
Mm.
My day ones, it'll be Rick Little, it'll be Sam Cecilia, and it'll be Austin Arnett.
Nice.
And I really wouldn't have it any other way. Those are my guys. So, and it also worked out too, because Austin's got a pretty busy schedule this summer, and it's like the perfect weekend for him to come down, and that's just the way I like it, man. I take a lot of pride in while I have gone places and cross trained, and we've had John Wood in my corner and stuff before, but like I started with Rick Little.
Mm.
And I'm going to end with Rick Little. There's nothing wrong with people going to get different looks and changing camps. I'm not
Mm.
casting shade on anybody that does that. But for myself, I take a lot of pride in the fact that, like, I'm gonna finish where I started, and
Yeah.
that's pretty rare in this sport. I take a lot of pride in that, though.
Prediction for this fight. How do you see this one playing out?
Dude, we got to give Court credit where it's due. I mean, I've heard the rumors that the guy is impossible to submit. Um, so obviously, like, that would be a huge feather in my cap if I could go out there and put him away. But Court's a guy that he's a vet. He knows how to train. He knows how to prepare. He's very mentally tough. Physically, he's very durable. So I'm going to give him his credit. I anticipate this fight to go 3 rounds. I'm going to chase the finish as I always do, but I would be a fool to think that I'm going to go in there and just think that I can get this done in less than 15 minutes. So I'm prepared. I'm preparing myself to go 15 minutes. I'm preparing for this fight almost like I'm fighting Sean Brady again.
Mhm.
I'm fighting a guy that can challenge me in the wrestling and the grappling. And there's things I would have done different in that camp for Sean. So those things that I would have done different for that camp, I'm doing them different now, and I got the right bodies for it. So I think that I'm going to put on a really good performance.
We got a bunch of fights announced. Quickly want to get your thoughts on them. Ilia Topuria is now fighting Charles Oliveira, who's winning the vacant title now.
Man, it's really hard to pick against Ilia Topuria. I'm a big Charles Oliveira fan, especially like I love, I'm always rooting for the guys from like the old guard. But if I'm going to get into the X's and O's, the way Topuria is able to touch the body is something that I think it's going to play a big role in this fight. Charles likes to stand very tall. He kind of leaves that body open a little bit. We've seen him go down from body shots in the past. And people forget, or actually people don't forget, people just might not know this.
Mhm.
The Ilia Topuria's base in the way he came
Yeah.
up on the regional scene, you would not think that he's this devastating puncher. He really shined as a grappler,
Mhm.
really shined with his wrestling. And while Charles Oliveira is the all-time submission leader, the greatest ground specialist we've ever seen in the UFC, I think that it's going to be very hard for Charles to submit Ilia Topuria. So I think Ilia gets the job done.
By the sounds of it here, are you just kind of taking it fight to fight as far as the rest of your career? Because like you just said, like see how it goes, or do you have like a timeline of like how much longer you want to keep doing this?
I don't want to fight into my 40s. So I'm
Yeah.
37, and I just don't know. I think it just depends. Like I don't know if I'm going to be one of those guys that's like, hey, this is my last fight. I don't know if I want to. It might just be one of those things where I win and just call it. I might come up short and call it. I don't know. It's hard to say. But the one thing I've learned, one of my biggest aces I have up my sleeve is I have an uncle that's a sports psychologist, and he works for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, works for the Orlando Magic. And you just don't talk about the R word. It's just like focus on being present, being in the moment, focus on your fight. Don't think about what could happen afterwards or the R word. You just focus on winning, and I'll know. I think when the day comes that I get back in that locker room and I just don't get nervous, I think that I'll be the day when it's like it's time to be done, because the fear of fighting is what keeps you sharp. And if my blade ever starts to get dull and I don't get that fear, if I don't get that fear that makes me sharp, it's probably best to just be done so I don't get myself hurt. But for now, all systems go. I feel great.
What did you think of Jack Della Maddalena winning the welterweight title? What a performance that was.
Dude, a lot of people say, I was having a conversation with RJ Clifford about this, and he was asking me like, why didn't Bilal wrestle earlier? And I think that we have to give credit to Jack Della because he did such a good job not getting boxed in. He was able to change stances, strike from both stances, and avoid the pressure from Bilal. Because if Bilal can box you in and get past that black line, he's gonna. And when I say black line, it's the octagon within the octagon. There's that black line right by the fence, and if he can get you past that black line, that's when he pours it on the thickest. And he did a good job using his stance changes to not get boxed in, forced Bilal into taking long shots, and forced Bilal to fight his fight. So I got to give credit to the former champion. He fought a great fight outside of his wheelhouse, which is his grappling, but credit to Jack Della for fighting a great fight.
Does he beat Islam, do you think?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, Islam's a big boy and he's a very smart fighter. I don't know. We'll see if the Craig Jones magic can pay off. Is Craig Jones really the kryptonite to the Dagestani style of fighting? That remains to be seen, but I'm here for it.
Mike, appreciate this. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? As always, I'll give you the last word.
Dude, just shout out to my team, Rick Little, Austin Arnett, Sam Cecilia, my Young Bucks, Brady and Ashton, my 6 a.m. wrestling boys, the Orndorff brothers, Jake Mason, Wood, and my strength coach, Dylan Lemery, and my wife, my amazing wife that makes all of this possible. I mean, it's fitting that I've given her a shout out on our anniversary, but she's the glue that keeps me together. And yeah, I love her so much.